In 2020, 17-inch laptops are not really a thing. We all remember the glory days of the 17-inch MacBook Pro, but these days the few 17-inch laptops that actually exist are really just a big screen and not much else. But not this one, the new Dell XPS 17. This promises to be the most expensive, the most powerful, and the largest XPS laptop ever made. The question is there enough extra performance here to really justify all those things? Let's find out. If you're like me, you probably haven't spent much time with a 17-inch laptop in a while. But after spending a week with this XPS 17, I can tell you, it's great. The 2 extra inches of screen real estate really make a huge difference, kind of regardless of what you're doing. You could just be scrolling the web or gaming or doing some detailed work in Premiere or Lightroom. It doesn't really matter. More screen is always going to be better. But that extra screen real estate always comes with a compromise, and that's the size of the laptop. I mean, it's the main reason why 17-inch laptops are kind of a niche laptop category these days. But as they've always done, Dell has put a ton of work into making sure this is the smallest 17-inch laptop ever made, and they've totally succeeded here. And the main thing, I know I talk about this a lot, it's the bezel size, because when you have smaller bezels, it equals a smaller overall footprint of a laptop, whether it's on your lap or on a desk in front of you. And the main thing here is the bottom bezel. This is the same size of this bottom bezel as you get on the XPS 15 and the XPS 13. But here it makes the biggest difference because now a 17-inch screen is all of a sudden palatable. You can carry this thing around and not feel like you're carrying an entire workstation around with you. In fact, it even fits into my backpack laptop sleeve, which is only rated for a 15-inch laptop. That goes to show you right there, this 17-inch laptop is pretty close to the size of an older 15-inch laptop. In fact, sit it down next to the 16-inch MacBook Pro and you'll see that there's not a lot of difference despite there being a full inch of extra screen here on the XPS 17. Now, I'm not saying this is a portable laptop by any means. I mean, this is still 5.5 pounds, which is pretty heavy. It's a noticeable difference compared to the 16-inch MacBook Pro or the XPS 15. But aside from the size, a lot of those design elements are lifted directly from the XPS 15, the new one that is. It has the new keyboard, the larger touchpad, the extra aluminum along the sides, the increased build quality. You can open it with one finger. They've kind of hit every possible little thing to make this design as refined as possible. But I do want to talk about this screen for a second, because this is technically a different panel than the one they use on the XPS 15, and it is amazing. I mean, this is the best laptop display I've ever tested. And even though this isn't an OLED panel, the brightness and contrast ratio really are some of the best I've ever seen on an LED screen. The resolution is 3840 by 2400, which is sort of a weird resolution, but it's because it has a 16:10 aspect ratio on the screen instead of a traditional 16:9. But what you get is just really, really sharp details on this screen. And if you're a videographer or a photographer and color precision matters to you, color accuracy matters to you, this is gonna be a great option. One caveat is this 4K Plus version isn't the one that comes in the base model, of course. You're gonna have to go with the 1080 Plus version that you get there, which isn't gonna be quite as high quality. I haven't tested it yet, so I don't know for sure, but this 4K Plus version is really gonna be the one you wanna go for. Now, when you're talking about that many pixels, and especially at a size this large, you're gonna have worse battery life. There's kind of no way of getting around that. This has a 97 watt-hour battery in it. It's a huge battery. But you just can't get around the fact that you're not gonna get more than around 4 or 5 hours of battery life on a single charge on this. If you're doing heavy, intensive work, it's gonna be even less than that. So it's just something you wanna be aware of when you are going to configure the XPS 17 when you're choosing between the 1080p and the 4K. But now let's get to what really makes the XPS 17 stand out, not only from other 17-inch laptops, but also from the XPS 15, and that's performance. Dell has made some big promises about what kind of performance you can expect from the XPS 17. And I was particularly curious because I can only see justifying a laptop of this size if there's an actual significant performance upgrade over the XPS 15. And where that's not going to come is in the processor, because it uses the exact same processor options as the XPS 15. My review unit came with the Core i7. This is an 8-core, 16-thread, 10th generation Intel processor. Sounds impressive, but it's the same processor option that you get in the XPS 15. And both laptops are going to be getting the Core i9 version soon. So you're not going to see any difference there in terms of performance, and really they're exactly the same as far as my testing has been with the processor. So your question might be then, what is the actual performance benefit here? And it's all in the graphics card. This is using an Nvidia RTX 2060 compared to the GTX 1650 Ti on the XPS 15, and there is a huge difference here in terms of performance. In addition to that beefier graphics card, Dell has completely redesigned the cooling solution inside as well. So you're getting vapor chambers being used as well as a completely new airflow system. The goal, of course, is to be able to push that RTX 2060 as hard as an application wants to. Now, the obvious benefit is gaming, of course, and the XPS 17 is an excellent gaming laptop, even though it's not branded as one. You're not gonna have a hard time getting up to 60 frames per second in pretty much every game you throw at it. You can even play up to 4K in games like Civilization 6, but in fast-paced 3D games like Fortnite or Battlefield 5, those are the two that I tested, you're gonna be playing even at 1440p or some higher resolutions and still get up to 60 frames per second. It's really impressive for a laptop that's not branded as a gaming laptop. Of course, the one gaming feature it's missing is a higher refresh rate or G-Sync support. It doesn't have either of those. And as much as I wish that 120 hertz or 144 hertz was kind of default in laptops, we're not really there yet, and this one is stuck at 60 hertz, which means that you're gonna be kind of capped at 60 frames per second, no matter what game you're playing. But better graphics also plays a really big role in content creation, of course, depending on what applications you're using. If you're doing any kind of 3D modeling, you're gonna see huge gains here over options like the XPS 15, for example. I wanted to try out the same video editing test I've been running in all of these powerful laptops. So I opened up Adobe Premiere Pro and wanted to see how this thing compared to something like the XPS 15 or even the 16-inch MacBook Pro. And man, that RTX 2060 really does make a big difference. Despite the fact that they use the same processors, this thing was way faster in video rendering, and that just goes to show you how much a graphics card, a powerful one, can make a difference in your workflow if the application that you're using has optimized for the GPU. If you're talking about a standard laptop, this is the fastest video editing laptop that I've ever done this test on, except of course for the Surface Book 3, which has a unique design and uses its GPU in a really unique way. So you'll have to check out the full review to see what it's doing there. But for just a standard laptop, this is the fastest. One interesting competitor that could rival this one in the near future is the Razer Blade Pro 17. It's another pretty slim 17-inch laptop that has the same 8-core processor, but it has a graphics card that goes up to an RTX 2080 Super Max-Q. So that's gonna have even better graphics. It's not quite as small as this, and I don't exactly know how it will perform because I haven't tested it yet, but that is one to look out for. Now, the one last thing that separates the XPS 17 from the XPS 15 is your port selection. It's kind of similar, except all you're getting here is Thunderbolt 3. 2 on each side. This is a first for a Windows laptop. It's something that they've been doing for years on the MacBook Pro, but Intel has finally made that work, and Dell is the first one to put out a laptop with 4 Thunderbolt 3 ports. In addition to that, you also get a full-size SD card slot, which is really handy. If you're using a camera on a daily basis, that's gonna be really convenient, and it's a pretty big advantage over the MacBook Pro, which still doesn't have one. So yeah, you'll need dongles or a Thunderbolt 3 dock if you're gonna be using HDMI or USB-A, which is kind of annoying, but in terms of future-proofing, this is the most universal and powerful setup you could ask for. Now, aside from battery life, my only real disappointment with the XPS 17 were the speakers. I had some pretty high hopes going into this because it's a big speaker grill right on the keyboard deck. It's the perfect location for them. But these are the exact same set as what's on the XPS 15, at least as far as I can tell. They're not horrible. They're actually better than a lot of other laptops out there, even better than like the Razer Blade, for example. But they just still can't compete with the MacBook Pro. The base is just not there. It's just not full-bodied enough to compete with what they've managed to do on the MacBook Pro. Now, the Dell XPS 17 is not a cheap laptop, and I'm sure you saw that coming. This configuration I have here is just under $3,000. It's a lot of money. It's a big chunk of change, but what you're getting is the complete package. I mean, if you're looking for a powerful machine for content creation, this is one of the best options you can find out there. And I mean, compared to the 16-inch MacBook Pro, it's still a little bit cheaper actually, and especially when you get into the storage and memory options, Apple charges a lot for those, and you're getting a better deal here if you stick with the XPS 17. So hopefully what we're seeing here is a resurgence of the 17-inch laptop, not just a bigger screen, but ones that have a ton of extra power and can actually use the larger chassis of the 17-inch laptops for extra performance, which is exactly what the XPS 17 does. Hey, thanks for checking out this video. I'm really curious what you guys think of this new XPS 17. Is this the kind of laptop you've been waiting for? Are you excited about the resurgence of 17-inch laptops? I know I am. So let me know your opinion in the comments down below.